We're going to start a conversation today, which I hope continues in all sorts of areas. Swell is no stranger to the conversation of self-image, body image, self-care, inclusivity, the radical idea of inclusivity, by the way, not just the whitewashing of we're an inclusive brand or an inclusive community, but the actual experience of feeling like you belong because people understand and see you. Of course, I think also that before you can feel seen, you have to see yourself. And one of the things that really strikes me about the conversations we have on Swell is we are digging in on a daily basis with where our voice fits into proclaiming our identity, the things we choose to say, how we say them, how we reply to other people. It's creating a culture of conversation that brings us all, I think, into our best versions of ourselves because we show up for others and we ask others to show up for us. And I think that's a beautiful cycle. And I'm really proud to be a part of this community. And I'm really proud to invite somebody new who has an incredibly important role in framing something that I think can't be framed more powerfully than how she has done it. Welcome, Jennifer Norman, to Swell. And I feel like I don't want to paraphrase what you do because I've been on your site, I've read articles about you, but I really want you to speak very clearly about the human beauty movement because it's a brand, but it's also a community. You host workshops and events, and you do corporate wellness programs, in addition to enabling people to really put their money where their mouths are and be supportive of your vision and shop consciously, live consciously, and kind of magnify this idea. So I guess, can you start us off by talking about the human beauty movement in the context of your personal life, your career, where that tipping point was for you where you said, I need to name this, I need to commit to this, I need to raise money for this, and I need to find the correct pulpit from which you have really brilliantly sort of amplified your vision as the founder for the human beauty movement. Welcome to Swell. I'm really happy you're here, and I look forward to your response and for all of us to get in conversation with you.
Hi, Deborah. Thank you so much for this opportunity to join Swell and to have this conversation with you about the human beauty movement and about what really matters to us all in life, and that is being heard, being seen, using our voices. I think this app is really special, and I'm really excited to be part of it. The reason why I started the human beauty movement, I think like a lot of people, we're all searching for deeper meaning, for a greater sense of purpose. And after being in the traditional beauty industry for 25 years, I was finding that it was enjoyable, it was exciting, but I wasn't really finding that soul purpose and feeling like I was really living that out loud. The Human Beauty Movement is a company that I started a few years ago to let everyone know that they're beautiful, they matter, and they belong. It's about the beauty of inclusivity, which is about accepting others, yes, but first of all, and first and foremost, it's about accepting yourself. I was one of those people who, from a very early age, because I was an adopted Asian American, grew up in a white family, I always had this struggle with identity of not really understanding who I was. And so self-love was not something that came naturally to me. I had to really go through life and come around back to myself, as it were. And so, I think that a lot of the source of beauty is truly about loving yourself, about honoring yourself and feeling okay with yourself. So many of us go through life not really knowing ourselves. And so the Human Beauty Movement is an opportunity to really find that inspiration that can help you tap into your own self. have a better self-relationship and have more self-esteem, more joy in life, more confidence to be able to authentically show up in the world and manifest the kind of life that you want to live. I really think that that's the most beautiful thing that we can do. And then spread that joy, spread that love to others, and help that resonate out into the world, kind of like what we're doing here on Swell, where we have a wonderful idea. We allow other people to build on it, and then it grows and grows and grows, and we have impact. So the Human Beauty Movement is also something that I wanted to ensure that I was doing with integrity, so that people knew that, I was doing this from the heart. This isn't so much about making profit at any cost. I think that we're beyond that place in companies where it's just okay to be in business just to make money. No, we want to be in business to have impact, to leave ourselves with a better planet, to create better opportunities for people, for all stakeholders. And so, it's really about being the best stewards that we can possibly be on this earth while we're here, so that, we leave it in a better place than when we first arrived. So I'd love to continue this conversation and invite others to join in, send in your replies. What do you think of what you've heard so far? How has your relationship been with yourself and then in kind with others? How do you think that, you might be able to cultivate more beauty in your life? I think that this is really, really a fascinating start of a wonderful conversation that I hope continues.
Hello, I just wanted to say this is a really fascinating subject and initiative, and I think that whatever you would name or call the opposite of the human beauty movement is probably what is the number one thing ailing society and humanity as a whole. This notion of not, being enough, of not being good enough, or sort of that validation that we're always looking for outside, and not appreciating not only for ourselves but in others. And so I think sort of having a healthy notion of who we are, and that we're good enough, and that I think that's really important. I think in the opposite of that, I think it leads to conflict, and it leads to just sort of some of the bad things that we see happening around the world today. Because if you truly don't have an appreciation and see the beauty within yourself, then can you ever truly appreciate it within others? And if you can't appreciate it in others, then can you fully see people as human beings and really appreciate their humanity? So I think this is such an amazing topic, and sort of my own experience as someone who's had issues with self-esteem all of my life, who's had that sense of like not being worthy enough, and who, it wasn't until like maybe well into adulthood where I was like, you know what, I'm worthy enough. Like, I don't need to do anything to validate my worthiness. Like, just being here is enough. And so it took a long time to get to that point. And not that it was like a magic abracadabra, everything is okay, everything is great now. But it was the starting point of a new perspective and a new consciousness. So, and I think so many of us, in many different forms, need to be able to see the beauty within and the beauty around, and see the oneness of that. So thank you for sparking this conversation and for this initiative. It's very insightful. I think it's very helpful, and it's a really good thing. So thank you.
Hi, thanks for starting this conversation. It's really important. But what I think is even more important that coincides with this conversation is the idea of community and needing community, especially if you're an immigrant or someone of color or just anyone that doesn't find community in your own home. That community doesn't really have to be something you're born with. or it doesn't have to be something you're already involved in. It could be your own community. It could be just finding like-minded people or beings, or just being in a situation where you feel safe. You can find your own community. And when you find a community that accepts you and you feel safe, you're in a situation where your thoughts about yourself are more reflective of reality, meaning that we're all in a really great space. Babies are not born not thinking that they're not accepted. I guess that's really what to strive for. So I just wanted to see also if you could talk about a little bit more about what your thoughts are with community and what you hope to see happen. Thanks.
Hi, I'm new to Swell, and this is my first reply. And I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation because I do believe that loving ourselves is literally the key to healing this planet and this world. When I grew up, I was very insecure, as most of us are, and did not have a lot of self-love. I bent over backwards to help everyone else and love on everyone else. I had a lot of empathy, but it was really more about finding security and acceptance than loving the other person. I needed to feel connected to my community, and that's the way that I learned to do it. But as I got older and had children, and then had my third child who has Down syndrome, I started to really shift my idea of what beauty was. I could see that my son was different, and he didn't check all the boxes of what we traditionally think beauty is. He is an incredibly beautiful soul with all of his, quote, faults and defects. I realized that beauty just is. It's not something that you earn or gain. We're all beautiful because we're human. And I really started to see that in myself and love that in myself. And as I have come into my 50s and I'm finally feeling fully adult and in love with the life that I've been given, with my body, with my talents, I'm starting to really understand what loving others is about. It's not about loving someone in order to get something back. It is just about loving the messiness of being human, regardless of what that looks like. And it's an incredible feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. Loving ourselves first allows us to really love others in a way that is profound and joyous. So thank you for this conversation. I'm excited to know more people in the Swell app and keep having important discussions like this one.
Greetings, Shelley. I just wanted to respond to your reply to the original message. I have not yet heard the original message. I came across your reply, and I loved everything that you shared. It is so true that we are to see one another with eyes that we view the beauty and uniqueness, special qualities that each person has been given. We all come with special gifts and talents, and there are things that you can do that I cannot. There are things that I can do that you cannot, and we just need to honor and celebrate the beauty and the uniqueness of each individual person. We were all designed in the image of Christ, and which is a huge blessing because there are things that we can do to collaborate and connect and come together as community and to just make this world a much, much better place. I look forward to hearing more from you along the way, and I love your testimony regarding your son. Everyone is beautiful, and everyone comes with some special and unique qualities, and so there will be things that you will learn from him. You will gain wisdom from him, the things that he will show you about love and light and laughter. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, again, I look forward to connecting with you, my new friend, and we'll see each other along the way as we, really grow in this Swell community. I'm also looking forward to building community as well here. So take care, happy Easter, and God bless you.
Hi, Glenn. Thank you so much for chiming in on this conversation, and your response is wonderful. I couldn't agree with you more. And I also believe that it is a really, really deep work that we must do in order sometimes to be okay with ourselves, because a lot of these are deeply rooted. You know, they happen from our upbringing, they get into our subconscious, and then they unconsciously start to manifest into the way that we treat other people, into the decisions that we're making, into how we operate out in the world. And it's not to say that only those people who have self-esteem issues are going to, create adversity. There's good and bad in all of us, certainly, and it ebbs and flows. But I really am such a proponent of us, before we try to change the world, we must change ourselves, and we must really, have this kind of self-awareness to see where those shadows are, where the conflict is, and what we can do to not be so triggered by other things that happen. Because I do believe that if ever we get offended, or if ever we object, or if ever we, have a problem with something, it's kind of like a reflection on what's going on inside, and we can ask those questions, and we can do the work as to, like, why is this bothering me so much? Why am I having this kind of reaction? And what can I do about it? I often will say that there is power in the pause, because, certainly if you're having a bad day, or if you're just not in the right mood, it's very easy to lash out or complain or do something that may end up having a negative ripple effect. And so the power in the pause is, if something happens, I think that a lot of times we can remember that situations, anything that happens, events that occur, are neutral, but our reaction is everything. And so we can use it as an opportunity to just take a moment, gather ourselves, and say, okay, well, what do I want to do about this situation? Am I going to make it a problem? Is it going to make me bitter? Am I going to be angry? Or conversely, can it make me better? And I do believe that it is an active choice. Anything that happens in life, I always tell myself, okay, it can make me bitter, or it can make me better. And I'm going to choose in this moment to be better. I'm going to choose to make it better. And I think that that's made all the difference. So thanks again. Let me know what you think. Hello. Thank you so much for your response about community. This is such a deep and rich and fascinating topic, because I believe in the power of community, in so much that they are helping people to feel loved and supported and safe and cherished and valued and respected, all of those things. I believe in finding your tribe. I believe in people coming together with shared experiences, common backgrounds, common beliefs, a common culture. All of these things are so enriching and important for the human experience. The place where I'd offer a watch out for any community is that there is a chance that any given community can other people. There can be this groupthink, or this tendency to say we are right, they are wrong, we are better, they are worse. And, this is different than team sports. It's different than when we know that there's a game happening and there's competition, and that is all in good fun. But when communities start to create this, then that is the crux of where, when one individual comes into a collective and then there is groupthink, that groupthink becomes distorted against other human beings. That's when things escalate into, greater societal problems, as we've seen with any kind of ism, whether it be racism, ageism, genderism, sexism. Any of those isms have been brought about by some common feeling about people who are not within the community that they belong. And so, yes, communities are wonderful and nurturing, but I think just as any individual needs to do their own self-awareness and analysis, a community can also do the same to say, what are we doing to enrich our members? What can we do to be more inclusive and understanding, and reach out to others and show how much we care towards other communities, even though they may be different. Different does not mean better or worse. It just means different. It just means, we don't share as much in common, but it does not invalidate anybody else's experience, any other people's support, or where they find commonality with others. And so, that's one of the reasons why I decided to call my company the Human Beauty Movement, is because, I always joke and say, even though I'm a woman, I believe in helping to support women into positions of power and into positions of leadership, from an economic perspective, from government perspective. I think that it's wonderful in terms of what the feminist movement has done. But then when it starts to create animosity or, give this vibration off about being man haters, and I say that with love and with jest, I say, I'm not a feminist, I'm a humanist. I believe that everybody has a story to tell. I believe that everybody has, something in their lives that, some things that they've had a hard time with, that have not necessarily been anyone's fault, but let's just have compassion for everybody as human beings. And then, when we come together as communities, let's see what we can do to just showcase as much love and support for our own members, as well as recognizing others too. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. Hey there, Adam. Thank you so much for, number one, introducing me to Swell. I hadn't heard of the app before, and after poking around and exploring and starting this conversation, I'm really excited by it. I think that it really is very much a compliment to the Human Beauty Movement in that it is such an intimate platform. We can have these one-to-one conversations that others can also listen to and chime in on, and it's really lovely as far as a social app goes. I did take this weekend to spend time with my family, so I apologize for the delay in my response to you and to the others that have chimed in on this conversation. Understandably, it was a holy weekend, but I am really, really grateful for everything that you're doing in terms of helping people to have a better relationship with their tech. It is vitally important in this day and age to remember that our tech is our tool and is not there to run our lives and, as you were mentioning, turn us into robots. And so I think that the work that you're doing is so, so important, and I'm really so happy that the universe connected us and that we've been able to collaborate on things in the past, and I'm sure more things in the future. And so, yes, I wish you all the best, and thank you very, very much. Hello, Acorn and Oak. Oh my goodness. I think that there is a reason that you were drawn to this app and that this was your first response, and I am honored that this conversation was the first that you were responding on. And the reason why I am saying that is because I think that we are twin stars in our experiences. I grew up being an adopted child who just had no idea who I was, what my identity was, and I was searching for validation under every rock that I could find. And I really very much felt like being accepted and being cool and wearing all the right fashions and having all the brands and the labels and all of that, it led me into the traditional beauty industry. And I was like, you know what? It's just not fulfilling. There's something missing deep down inside. And it wasn't until I had my son. He has a very rare mitochondrial disease, which renders him non-mobile, non-verbal, He needs 24-hour care. And so I see you. I feel you. I see you. I love you. For waking up, because we were both given little angels. We were given angels to help us wake up and see the beauty of the human experience. All of those things that I think are so easy to take for granted, like good health and all of those things. Having unconventional people in our lives reflects upon us the gratitude that we feel to be here, and the gift that we've been given by being able to care for somebody who is special. And so, yeah, I am exactly in the camp of understanding that, this is an extraordinary opportunity for us to show love and compassion. It's not about what so many people think, and that is the need to feel needed. You mentioned having empathy, and yeah, I think that a lot of sensitive people who don't yet have a full understanding of their own power, of their own divinity, of their own selves, have this need to feel needed, have a need to be validated, a need to serve in order to get served. And it leads to a very transactional life. It's not as fulfilling because you're not really doing it from a place of true and unconditional love and selflessness. And we've finally been able to get there. I, too, am in my 50s, and it has been a long journey, but that's what this human experience is all about. It's the journey back to ourselves. So much love and much goodness and much happiness to you and to your beautiful son. Hi, Deborah. It's Jen. I just wanted to say hello and thank you so much for responding to Shelley. I, too, agreed that her response was just magical, and it really touched my soul. And listening to your voice and hearing your energy, I feel the love and the light that is within you too. And I am really, really grateful that you are now part of my community as well. I will often say that I feel like beauty is much more felt with the heart than seen with the eyes. And I think that this app helps with that. You can hear the voice, you can hear the thinking, and truly I do find that the expression comes from the heart, it comes from the soul. And I'm just really honored and happy that we're able to build something together. I love the energy that everybody is bringing to this conversation, and I look forward to having more conversations with you.
Hello, I just wanted to thank you for your response. And you said, is it going to make me better or is it going to make me bitter? And that is such a powerful notion, and something that something I'm going to remember. I'm going to keep that in my brain, because that it really is about choice. Sometimes we can't control the things that occur, or we can't control how we respond to them. And is it going to make me better or bitter? That's really beautiful and powerful. And thank you for sharing that wisdom, and for initiating this conversation and this movement.
All right. Just started listening to this on the trending category of the self-beauty movement. I mean, I guess I just don't get it. I clicked on it because I was curious as to what it is, so I listened to the first well, then the second one that's about the woman joining this movement. There's just this world I just don't get. I don't live in it. I can sort of understand it, but I mean, just for the most part, it's just a symptom to me. This is a symptom of a very large illness that's like a mental illness, and because I guess I just I guess I'm just reiterating myself, like I don't understand, like I don't get why, like, things like this just keeps getting spread around nowadays in like 2023. It's like there's just a thing that's like just completely like I don't it's not completely false to me. It's just what I live in is just something that's completely different. It's like I'm seeing the reality of what this world really is. It's dark, it's dank, it's like I understand to a degree that everybody is their own person. Everybody is like an individual. We're supposed to see that as like we're, the whole beauty standards, because everyone is just supposed to be loving of themselves and love themselves and things like that. But to me, I just don't get it because it's not realistic. It's like a symptom that plagues society, and then it's like we're all pretending that this is not that these things in the world don't exist or something. Like that's why I find these things on here to be so confusing. Like when I click on something, it's like I keep clicking on things that are like trending on here, and it's like we're all pretending we're on a talk show where everything is just beautiful and nice, and everything is like it's like a Disneyfication or something. When that's not what I see, that's not what I deal with, and I live out here in the real world. I live in the ghetto. I see the worst of the worst when it comes to death, people killing themselves, killing other people, like, a whole lot of drug use, a lot of fentanyl. It's just a lot of, like, I'm seeing the worst of humanity. And so, to me, I don't know, maybe if someone could just send me a message and explain this, like the whole, see yourself as beautiful movement, because it's, I don't know, it's just kind of, like, I can understand, in a sense, if someone works themselves up to look beautiful. I mean, that's like, I guess that's like around where that ends, but I don't know. Maybe if someone could just send me a message on here. It's just making me think more and more I really shouldn't even be on this app, because there's just like a huge disconnect of where it's like what so many of these trending things are like talking about when I click on them, and then there's, okay, well, I'm walking into my actual life, and it reflects nothing of it. It's like, I mean, the whole premise of like beauty and whatnot, it's like, that's not, I mean, my philosophy is most people are their own stereotypes. Most people are, everybody's evil. Everybody is wicked. It's just at what level of scumbaggery are you at? Like on a Richter scale, from 1 to 10, where is your selfishness, your self-indulgence, your scumbaggery? And it's just when people talk about things like this, the immediate reaction that I get that just plays in my head is, how is this realistic? How does this reflect what the actual world is? Okay, it's just like there's concentration camps like set up all over the world. Like there's like how many people dying right now of starvation and several different things that I get messages about on my, other websites. But anyways, I guess that's where I am.
Hey there, I wanted to thank you so much for chiming in and letting us know how this particular thread was confusing to you. I actually understand completely why you wouldn't get it. And it is because of the world that you've lived in. It's because of the experiences that you've had. It's because of the exposure that you've had to a lot of these things that are going on in the world. It reminds me of a time when I was with my brother. My brother came to visit me. He had been a New York police officer for 20 years, retired, came to visit me out in California. And since I had moved away from New York, 20 years ago, I have been in a different environment and had different experiences. But I remember that he came over and he actually brought his gun with him and wanted to take me to a shooting range because he felt that I needed to know how to protect myself. And he was encouraging me to get a gun to keep in the house because he thought that it would help me be safe. And I thought to him, why on earth would I want a gun in the house? I live in such a nice neighborhood where there is no crime, and I'm not interested in learning how to shoot a gun because I don't want to even think about taking any other person's life or injuring somebody. But because of his experience with criminals and crime and everything that he has seen, all of those negative things, it colored his view of the world, and his view was it's unsafe and it's a scary and bad place, and people who are like, you know, his little sister need to know how to protect themselves or else they'll get taken advantage of, or they might get hurt. And my point of view had grown to be, I don't feel the need for protection because I always just inherently feel safe. And so we were completely at odds, and it just opened my eyes to the fact that, yeah, we were literally like, we grew up in the same grade. We were so close in age, like we were so close. And then yet when you get into these different places where you're living and have these different experiences, then it almost seems completely foreign. And because of the way that we set ourselves up, especially nowadays with algorithms, it's kind of like the more that you look at something, the more that you'll be fed that something or other. So in your reality, you're probably seeing a whole lot of negative news, which is feeding unto itself a whole lot more negative news. I have since, really limited my exposure to news in general, because it's, and I think a lot of people have, it's kind of a trend because, it's just bad for the mental health to be saturated with bad news. And it's not to say that it's not happening. We know it's happening, but we choose to focus on other things. And that's part of this whole idea of trying to create your own reality, trying to create that which might be more beautiful or more loving or more empathetic or more compassionate. And so it does start with, the boundaries. It starts with yourself, or, with myself. I am, choosing what I am feeding and nourishing myself, because if I feed myself anxiety and dis-ease, then that's what I will get. But if I try to surround myself and feed myself with goodness and things that are going to lift up my spirits and make me feel better, then that will make a difference. And so that's why I say, rather than trying to change the world, because it's an overwhelming thing, the only thing that we can do is take care of, what's in between our ears, what's inside our body, what's inside our souls. That's the only thing that we can affect. And then once we are able to, create a bit more of a safe place and a place where we feel okay with ourselves, then we can have an impact on those around us, and then it has a ripple effect out into the world. So again, I totally understand where you're coming from, and I think that you'll probably find a whole lot of swells here that are that are probably aligned to your interests.
Hey, Jennifer, I wanted to just thank you for this incredible reply. I just love when dialogue goes back and forth and we're just expanded in our own views of things, and everyone has a place. Everyone's ideas and thoughts and hearts have room. And I do agree with you that we have such a limit to being what we are. We're only human, right? And we can impact the world that we choose to impact, and we also have to keep somewhat of a restriction on what we take in as well, because sometimes it's just corrosive and doesn't allow for a healthy mindset. And especially now we're just bombarded with things, and everyone's got their own world and their own perspective, and I just appreciate the way the two of you have engaged with this. And I just wanted to jump in here and thank you so much. This concept around just the shapes and sizes of our own hearts when it comes to what is beauty, what is just the cultural mores of beauty, and how we sort of accompany each other in this physical beings that we are in life. It's so mind-blowing. and to find words and to frame it. It's just challenging, and we're doing that here, and I really appreciate it so much.
Hey, Deborah, thanks for chiming back in. It's so nice to hear your perspective always. And I think that it's really come to a point where I have just understood the fact that everybody has a story to tell. It doesn't matter if you're a man or woman, or what your race is, what your gender is, what your background is, what your skin tone is. I do see that, and I respect everybody's opinions and what they've gone through and how they see the world. And I know for a lot of cisgender males, the concept of beauty is a bit foreign. And so it feels fluffy. It might feel a little bit like it's not serious enough or not important enough. And the thing that really galvanized me to believe that it is important was truly when George Floyd and that situation happened, because I'm like, if we are treating each other based upon our skin tone in such a way, and trying to exert power over anybody else because we believe that we are superior in any way, then we have a lot of work to do. And so the idea of what we look like and who we are is just so important. It is part of being human, and it's respecting our differences and respecting those experiences while all the while recognizing that, we're all human, we're all in this together. And underneath it all, I believe love is really the key, and not just love to other people, but of course, the love to ourselves, the self-love. To me, beauty and gratitude are exactly the same thing. It's like if I see beauty, if I experience beauty, I feel beauty, then I feel such overwhelming gratitude and appreciation for what that is. And I know that the first place where that gratitude has to start is with myself. I have to recognize the goodness within me and feel grateful for it and appreciate it, grow it, which is what the word appreciation means, and let it expand outward from me. And that's the way that I've chosen to start living my life. And it's really made all the difference. I really find that, as I was explaining to one of the other responders up here, it just helps me to not be so bitter against the world. It helps me to be better. It is a choice. It's an active choice to really see the beauty in all things, even when things go wrong, and just recognize that it's there for a reason. And just like the yin and the yang, like the light and the dark, we wouldn't appreciate the light if but for the dark. We wouldn't appreciate the good if but for the bad. It's all part of life and our human experience, and for us to take from it those lessons in order to expand and create and make the world a better place. So thanks so much again for inviting me to this platform.